A good afternoon to you. Welcome to the West Ham Voice on Friday lunchtime. I hope you're all doing well. I hope you've all had a good week and looking forward to the weekend of FA Cup action. No West Ham, of course. We're not back in action until the midweek Premier League games on Tuesday. Say hello to Sushi as well, cleaning herself. I hope you're all doing well. This show was going to be about looking at the squad, looking at all the players that we've got in the squad and who we're likely to be maybe looking at perhaps selling in the summer and so on. But the story that came out today is about one specific player over anything else. And that, of course, is Mohammed Kudus. And yet again, the rumours that he could be bound for Saudi Arabia this coming summer. Apparently, Al Nassr are interested in the player and they're going to ready themselves and make an £84 million bid. Why a million less than his asking price? I don't know, but there you go. And I got to thinking, because when I sort of wrote a script for all the players in the squad and who may be sold and may not stay, I had it in my head that perhaps someone like Mohammed Kudus would actually stay at West Ham. I think he'll come good next season. I think he's the sort of player that, okay, he's not going through a really good spell at the moment, but next season could be the season where he picks up form again. But now that this story that Al Nassr is apparently interested in making a bid for the player, it creates doubt in your mind, doesn't it? It starts, you start asking questions of, should we sell him? Is it right to sell him? What can we do with the money? And so on and so forth. Now, look, we know he's not having a great season. We know that in a way, either Graham Potter or the player himself are struggling to fit him in. Graham Potter wants to play at 5 at the back, ideally, or a 3-5-2, a 3-4-3 formation, etc. But we know that we've got quite a lot of players who play out on the right-hand side. So when you've got Jared Bowen playing there, then where do you fit Mohammed Kudus in? And what Potter has been doing over the past couple of weeks, a few months or so, is he's been playing Jared Bowen and Mohammed Kudus in a front two. And I don't mind that, but it hasn't really had the desired effect, has it really? We've not got a lot of goals out of it. Kudus hasn't scored for West Ham for, I don't know, since January or even before that. I know he recently got a goal for Ghana, which hopefully will help him when he comes back to the Premier League. But it's kind of not working for him. We're trying to find a solution for Kudus. And many people are suggesting that, given that he's out of form, maybe we should just take the money and run. I don't know. It's a real dilemma because when I think about all the other players that we've got available to us that we could sell in the summer, is Mohammed Kudus the best asset, our biggest asset that we should be let going? Look, I think a lot of fans would say now he certainly isn't worth 50 million at the 85 million at the moment. And if we got that sort of money for him, let him go. He's probably certainly not proved to be worth that sort of money. And many fans are suggesting even if we were offered 40, 50 million for him, just take the money and run. I don't know. You've got an asset. He's got a release clause of £85 million in his contract. It will trigger when the summer window opens. So with Al Nassr coming in with an £84 million bid, do we bite their hand off and take the money and run? I don't know, is the honest answer. I know my gut feeling is I would rather keep Kudus, 24 years of age. Does he really want to play in Saudi? Is he ready to go and move there? Great. It'll be great money for him. It'll be great money for West Ham United, getting £84 million. I'm sure that will be the starting bid, and I'm sure we'll get more than that if we held out. But does the player himself want to go and play football in Saudi? Look, he's got ambition. He wants to play in the highest possible events, Champions League being one of them. We know we can't offer that. Certainly not next season, and maybe not even the season after that or the season after that. So would he go to somewhere like Saudi and be even further away from competitions like Champions League football. Yes, he'll become rich beyond belief. It's the sort of money that we won't be able to offer when it comes to wages. I mean, he's being paid a decent wage at West Ham United, but I've got no doubt at all that Saudi clubs just throw money at players, don't they? So there'll be no problem in them offering him, I don't know, £300,000 a week, £250,000 a week, tax-free, etc. We can't compete with that. And that's a real danger for Premier League football. Well, a real danger for clubs around Europe, that the Saudi money is endless. And what's going to happen moving forward? I mean, look at what their plans are in terms of the Saudi League. They are attracting, first they attracted some of the older players like the Ronaldos and all that sort of stuff. And then slowly they've started to look for younger players, attracting them with big money offers. And who could turn down the sort of money that they can pay in terms of wages, etc.? So would someone like Mohammed Kudus be lured by the money alone? I don't know, is the honest answer. I think Kudus is an ambitious player, absolutely. But how much does money talk? You know, if you're being paid £80,000 a week, £90,000 a week, you know, you might be offered maybe double that by another Premier League club, you know, because there's still apparent interest from other Premier League clubs like Arsenal are still interested. Liverpool are still interested. You know, wouldn't be a surprise if they made a bid for him. So would he rather stay in the Premier League and be paid almost double the money he's on now? Or would he really go for that big money and take himself completely away from the kind of competitions he could be involved in? It's interesting. Now, there's a part of me that says, I would much rather, if we're going to sell him, I'd much rather sell him abroad, let him go abroad so he doesn't cause damage to us in the Premier League. But I would hate, in all honesty, to see someone like Mohammed Kudus end up playing for a team like Liverpool or Arsenal, to be honest with you. Good for him, but not great for West Ham United, because you know what will happen, and I've been saying this for quite a few weeks, is that even though he's not on form at the moment, what will happen next season is he'll be banging form and he'll start scoring 10, 15 goals, assisting in half a dozen goals, etc. But it won't be for West Ham. And if that's going to happen, I'd rather he do it abroad than do it in the Premier League against us. I don't know. It's an interesting prospect. It's an interesting proposition. And I don't know what the answer is for West Ham. Yes, we keep hearing that West Ham United need to generate money in order to buy other players. But do we not have any other assets that we could maybe sell? Before I get onto that, let's go into your chat and say hello to people and see what you guys have to think, what seem to think about this. Usual, good afternoon to you. Daniela, good afternoon. On one hand, I hope top players stay, but as if they don't want to be at the club, then it's goodbye. But it is at the terms that we want to set the price at. No one has said he wants to leave. Afternoon to you, Anthony. I hope you're well. What's the good in one day dreaming playing in the Champions League if we always have to sell to buy? It's just crazy. Well, big dilemma. You know, would West Ham United... Let me just let the cat out. Go on, Sushi. Go on, off you go. Now, would West Ham United ever make it to Champions League football? I think it will probably take another 3 or 4 seasons to get there. Now, the likes of Mohammed Kudus are not going to wait another 3 or 4 seasons to see if we can make it to Champions League football. Although he's only 24 years of age, he wants to experience that now. That's why I'm asking the question, would he actually go to Saudi itself? Highest, good afternoon to you. And when did Kudus ever say he wanted to leave? Well, no one said he did. But agents are in your ears all the time as a footballer. You know, they tell you, well, this club's in for you. This club will want to pay you all these wages, etc., etc. Look how much money we can make on the transfer fee and so on. And when you've got that ringing in your ear all the time, you know, it kind of lures. It kind of makes a player think twice. Ryan, good afternoon, mate. If someone wants to pay Kudus release clause and he wants to go, then fine. But I'd rather he stays. If Paquetá wants to go, we need to ensure we get decent money. Should be able to get 130 million for the pair. Well, really? I'm not so sure anymore. Maybe 80 odd million for Kudus. But Paquetá, I mean, would we get 50, 60 million for him? I don't know. I mean, he's another player that should be valuable, but only if he's not found guilty by the FA will his value come back. What would it be worth? I mean, there's talk now that despite the £51 million that we're committed to end up paying, because of course we're paying in installments, I think we've paid something like 40 odd million of that, 45 million that already. Maybe his value has gone down to as little as £25 million. I don't think that's true. For me, someone like him, if he's found not guilty by the FA, I think his value will go up to about 40, maybe £45 million. Good afternoon to you, Michael. How are you? The real question we need to ask, would Kudus be willing to go to Saudi? The guy wants to win high-level things. He could not achieve that. Exactly that. Exactly that. You know, it's one of those things, you know, saying that, you know, Kudus will earn great money, etc., but you're spot on. You know, does he want to go at this stage of his career to somewhere like Saudi to earn that big money? There's a catch, isn't there? You know, you go, you earn that money, you become a multimillionaire for life. But the catch is, yes, of course, you can come back in a few years' time, 3 years' time, something like that, and go and play for a big team that's playing in Champions League football. But then this whole thing about when you're in Saudi, tax-free money, etc., all of a sudden the tax bill comes. Many players get caught out by that, don't they? They play football out there, tax-free for quite a number of years. Then they come back to European football or Premier League football or whatever, and then they've got a hefty tax bill to pay. Good afternoon, Epic. I hope you're well. Anthony, Kudus doesn't want to go to Saudi. He wants to win things and enjoy his football. Michael, you cannot force a player to go somewhere he does not want to be, no matter how much he has been offered. Absolutely, totally agree. And that's why it's a big dilemma here. If West Ham United, look, West Ham United's obligation with the release clause in his contract is all they have to do is just advise the player that someone has triggered that release clause. That doesn't mean that West Ham have to sell him, and it doesn't mean the player has to go. Absolutely correct. Anthony, if Potter had the balls, he would tell Sullivan that the player he wants is to stay at the club, otherwise he's off. Well, this is it. No one is saying that West Ham United are going out looking for bids for the player. This is coming from, let's not forget where we're at, by the way. Let's not forget where we're at in the season. I hate these rumours as much as you all do, but there's a lot of conversation about how a lot of these transfer rumours are generated by the club. Not always. Yes, there are occasions when the club would be looking to sell a player. But I don't believe at this stage that anyone is suggesting that the club itself is looking for offers for Mohammed Kudus or any other player for that matter. You know, I think what's going to happen is what Graham Potter is doing. He's looking at the squad and he will make a decision when it comes to the end of the season as to who he wants to keep and who he doesn't. At the same time, I'm sure he's likely to talk to some of his the bigger players at the club, you know, to find out where their minds are at. Do you want to stay? Do you want to go? You know, can I build around you, or do I have to look at letting you go for the best price possible? Good afternoon to you, Obsidian. I hope you're well. Usual. Let's be brutally honest here. Kudus has hardly set the world on fire since signing for West Ham. So if he wants out, and sell him and move on. If he wants out, then of course, you know, why would we stop the player? The last thing you want is to have a player that doesn't want to be at the club. But no one is suggesting that that's the case in this at this moment in time. Toha, Stel will be on time, surely. I don't know if I was, but hello, mate. I hope you're well. Michael, I agree, usual, but he has the right to say no. He absolutely, and let's get this in perspective. West Ham United receive a bid from Al Nassr of £84 million. West Ham United will go, well, you're not hitting the release clause. We're not entertaining it. Now Nassr come back a day later, 2 days later, a week later or whatever, and they go, okay, 85 million. That means that they've triggered the clause. Like I said, it doesn't mean that West Ham have to accept that bid. But what they are obliged to do, this is the way a release clause works, is they're obliged to tell the player, we have received a bid of the asking price. If you're interested, you're now welcome to go and speak to that club. The ball's in your court. That doesn't mean Mohammed Kudus can go, will go. It means that he'll go. Saudi, no thanks. Saudi, all right, I'll go and talk to them and see what the situation is. Saudi turn around, Al Nassr turn around and say, we'll offer you 200 grand a week tax-free, blah, 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 all this bloody stuff. And your agent will get a nice payoff as well, etc. Then the ball's in that player's court. The release clause has been triggered. There's not much we can do. We can turn around and say, all right, we've been obliged to tell you that the release clause has been triggered. West Ham can turn around and say, but we don't want to sell you. We want to keep you. West Ham have that, so let's get in perspective what a release clause is all about. A release clause just triggers West Ham having to tell the player that a bid has come in. Anthony, usual, you telling me that Kudus doesn't want to play for West Ham? Well, who knows? Toha, Kudus has been an enigma. Bringing his own stall has been a negative effect, it seems. Let's hope now that he's scored for Ghana, he's actually going to start scoring for West Ham. Should be on time, probably. It is my lunch break. It is my lunch break. Sean, good afternoon, mate. I hope you're well. Probably you're right there. Highest. So are you trying to tell me when they are to money Kudus will just go? No one's trying to say anything. What I'm saying is the way that transfers work is, or release clauses work, is we have an obligation to tell the player accordingly, but we don't have to sell him. Obsidian, Potter had his best players sold every season at Brighton. Difference is he was confident of adequate replacements. And that's a very, very good point. What we now have with Carl McCauley and Graham Potter is, you're absolutely correct there. They were not afraid to sell their best players at a high price because they knew what they then had to do in the transfer window to go and get replacements. Much lower prices. You look at what they've done over the years when they were at Brighton. You're absolutely correct there. Toha, all good usual. We've had 4 seasons in half a day here. Same here. It's kind of sunny at the moment. Who else have we got here? Good afternoon, Jason. I hope you're well. Michael, stupid transfer windows due to CWC so them teams can get players in before. That stupid thing, splitting the transfer window. I wasn't going to talk about it today because I only read about it this morning, but now we've got 2 transfer windows to sort out rather than 1 this summer. How ridiculous. Why are they doing this? It's just the daftest thing in the world. Toha, well, the cat doesn't want to, the cat's gone. Cat's gone. Highest. Kudus on to go to Saudi, that's for sure. Wants to win the African best. Anthony, usual. Looking at them European nights, he enjoyed playing for West Ham. Absolutely. But all players have ambition, but it depends on where Kudus's ambition lies. Does the ambition lie in just money, or does the ambition lie in playing in the biggest games in your career, Champions League and stuff like that? No European nights for him at West Ham for the foreseeable future, unfortunately, which is true. Sean, smells of a fake narrative pushed out by monster munch hands in order to force a higher bid at the buyout figure. Must think we're thinking. I genuinely don't know if this is coming from the club, and not all transfer rumours do come from the club. Ken, let's let him go for that to Saudi on this. We could get 3 good championship players for that money with great potential. That's the other side of the coin, isn't it? If we sell him and get £85 million for him, who can we then go and get to replace him? Malkstar, hello to you, mate. Do we have a problem keeping our Muslim players happy, as that's Kudus and Agurd this season and Ben Rama in the past? I'm not so sure it is about them being Muslim, to be quite honest with you. It's about them fitting into the system, them being happy, the managers being happy. Agurd was sidelined. Moyes didn't like him, and I was really surprised that Lopetegui didn't keep him. But interestingly, Agurd is another asset. Naif Agurd, apparently, from what we're told, Graham Potter wants to see what he's like. He wants him back at the club in the close season when he's finished his loan spell at Real Sociedad. And there'll be a conversation there as well. I have absolutely no doubt. Another conversation to be had. You went out on loan last season. What's your plan? What do you want to do? Do you want to come back to West Ham? Because if you do, I can fit you into the back 3 formation that I've got. If not, then we'll go and sell you. He'll fetch a decent price now that he's regained his form in Saudi. He could fetch 25 million odd pounds as well. Sean, who's the original source of the Kudus story? I don't know. I read it on one of those stupid, social media channels I know better than to ignore. So I don't know where it's originated from. If I look at it again, mate, I could tell you. Jason, Excuse the pun still, but it's really an offer we can't refuse. um, it is an offer that, well, is it an offer that we can't refuse? I don't know. We could turn around and go, no. We have other assets now. Don't get me wrong. I'm not suggesting that we could sell Jared Bowen, but if we wanted to get good money for a player, we could fetch good money on Jared Bowen. We could fetch good money on Thomas Souček, 20 odd million pounds or so. There's other players that we can fetch good money on. Guilherme. Apparently, there are clubs bidding for him around about the 20 million pound mark. Alvarez apparently is another player that could fetch a good price. 35, 40 million pound, 45 million pound. If we wanted to fetch good money, we can go and sell Kilman or Somerville. But I don't think those players are leaving, to be quite honest with you. I think Potter wants to keep as many of the best players that he has available to him for next season. But the Kudus one, obviously, he's our biggest prize asset at this moment in time. And it will not surprise me. We're going to have to prepare ourselves, because there are going to be clubs coming in for our better players. There always are. We sold Declan Rice a couple of years ago. There's no saying that we wouldn't sell Kudus. Of course, I think Potter would want to keep him, but if good money comes in, who knows? Chris, good afternoon to you. Yasu to you, mate. Thank you very much. If we got a serious offer for Kudus, I will let him go. He's been very hit and miss. He has. Let's not forget, though, that he's been very good in the first season. I still subscribe to this, that I think he'll come good again next season. Chris, again, I would opt for Paqueta to go as well if the money was right. And we would only really sell Paqueta if he gets off this FA hearing. If he's found not guilty, then I've got a feeling that it's, if we're talking about a high-profile player leaving next season, at the end of this season, my gut tells me it's more likely to be Paqueta than it would be any of our other big players. Pippa, good afternoon to you. Thank you for joining. Chris, they both seem to turn up when they play teams in red. I've heard that before. Anthony, Paqueta is going to be cleared of these charges. We don't know. Brian, good afternoon to you. Sell Kudus abroad. I'm sure he can get women on his own. Don't need to sell him one. Sean, is it Bilic you jacked in a Saudi over unpaid wages? I don't know. Good job, a Saudi job. I don't know. You're asking me. You probably know better than I do. Michael, so Anthony, Pac-Man and West Ham will see a windfall. If so, suing the FA for loss of earning. I don't think they'll be in a position to sue, to be quite honest with you. I know there's been a lot of talk about, well, maybe West Ham can sue because we would have got £85 million for him if we sold him to Man City and that scuppered the plans, and we probably lost money on that. I don't know if that's possible, to be quite honest with you. Red Hill, good afternoon to you. Don't let it drag on until the last day of the window, unsettling both player and club, I hope. Well, this is the sort of thing that I think one thing's going to be quite interesting is how quickly we move in the transfer market this summer. And despite the managers we've had at the club, happened with Bilic, it happened with Lopetegui, it happened under David Moyes. We always seem to drag our feet when it came to transfer window dealings. Let's hope that Potter manages to get Sullivan to let him deal with transfers a lot quicker in this summer's window. Neil, last year and a half, the club have accelerated going backwards. I don't know if Potter is the bloke to stop the rot, but he has to be given the chance, and that might mean Kudus and Paqueta moving on. Good point. It may, in order to rebuild the squad, but we can get money from other players. We can generate money from other players. Yet this show today was actually going to be about looking at the whole squad, and looking at who Potter is likely to keep, how much money we might make, and so on and so forth. I changed it just to focus on Kudus only. But I have got the script already, and I will put that out probably over the weekend, highlighting all the players, because we can generate all right money for other players as well. So we don't necessarily have to sell our big name players in order to generate income to be able to go out and buy other players. Fred, good afternoon to you. Good afternoon to you. Avram, I'm very well. I hope you are too. Good afternoon to you, Dads. I see many people saying Kudus is a victim of the club, but in all honesty, he is not as good as most people make him out to be. 85 million, sell in a heartbeat. I'll be honest, I don't disagree with that. I think Mohammed Kudus will come good, but It's about fitting him in to the system that Potter wants to play. And as I mentioned earlier in the show, at this moment in time, what Potter seems to be doing in order to accommodate a back five and a middle three is to play him and Bowen up front. Could it change? Yes, it could. But it would mean if we kept Kudus, another player leaving. But I'll come to that when I do my show about player ins and outs of the squad. Avid, good afternoon to you. I hope you're well. Why does everyone think we will sell Kudus for 84 million to Saudi or 50 million to a Premier League team? We should turn anything less than 85 million release clause down. Lot less money to spend, but we keep him. Absolutely, I totally agree. As I've mentioned, the way the release clause works is just because someone bids the 85 million still doesn't mean we have to sell the player. And if anyone bids any less, we could just turn it down. We could just say, no, thank you. It's not meeting our release clause. But even if a club comes in and says, we'll give you 85 million, all West Ham United have to do is they're obliged. The obligation is they turn around to the player and his agents and go, we've had a bid in for 85 million. We are obliged to advise you that a bid has come in. And off they go. They talk to the relevant club, etc., and then see what happens. But West Ham still doesn't have to sell the player, even if a bid comes in. Anthony, question to me. Stel, is it true that Soufal isn't going to get an extension in his contract? I think it's pretty much nailed on that Soufal will be leaving West Ham in the summer. Robert, if we keep Kudus, we need to buy a midfielder for him to play with. Very good point. Very, very good point, Robert. And you're absolutely correct. We need a box-to-box midfielder. And interestingly, if we buy that box-to-box midfielder, it will not only help Kudus further forward, but it will also help someone like Alvarez, who's probably our only natural defensive midfielder in the squad. It will probably help him too, because then Alvarez can do his job in defending the back line. Kudus can do his job in attacking the opposition, and that box will be the pivot in between. You're absolutely correct there. Avid, we don't need to sell him. I don't think we do. Good money if we do, but I agree with you. I don't necessarily think we do. Dads, the 2 summer windows is good. This allows clubs to profit from the FIFA World Cup participants who will pocket £97 million. Kudus could be sold early to play in this competition, which is good. I don't like it. Steve, good afternoon to you. Late to the stream. I haven't missed anything, mate. Good afternoon to you. But regarding Kudus, he's a classic example of buying a good player who doesn't necessarily fit in with the team. His best position is Bowen's. I'd bite the Saudis' hands off. See, so many different viewpoints. I think Kudus himself has always said he prefers to play a number 10 role. Perhaps changing 1 or 2 players in the squad in the summer might offer Kudus the opportunity to play in that number 10 role. Dads, Jacob Steinberg said it about the Kudus deal. There you go. That's where it's from. Sean, I'll backtrack through articles to see where it originated. Dads, Luis Guilherme is the one we need to keep. It'd be interesting as well. Another player that we could keep. I mean, Guilherme could bring in a few quid if we sold him. But he could come good, couldn't he? Michael, Mav will be going to get 10 quid for him. Cruel. Avid, Dads, couldn't agree more. No point in buying Guilherme to not even see what he's capable of. Michael, Pac-Man owes us at least 1 more season at the club, given that the club stood by him. Anthony, if clubs come in for our best players, just tell them to go forth and multiply. Usual. Reports in Italy saying West Ham are tracking Udinese defender. Well, let's be careful about this. Uma Sole was coming to West Ham United last summer before he agreed to go to Italy. Take it with a pinch of salt. Why didn't he come to us in the first place? Sean, think he was also mentioned in recent window. Usual. Michael, playing a youth team player for a few games increases their value to 20 million. I wish that were true. Not quite how it works. Sean, think he's on loan somewhere and they might have an option about Sule. I've got to take everything with a pinch of salt at this moment in time when it comes to transfers coming to us. Report says Manure are also tracking him. Chris, we should have kept Soufal as a good backup, wasn't on awful wages, but Soufal wants to be on bigger wages and apparently was promised the whole world, well, not the whole world, but a whole host of things last season when David Moyes was here. Malkster. I'm more worried about losing Wan-Bissaka. Yeah, heard that. Load of bollocks. Shouldn't swear. Lunchtime. Absolute crap. But yeah, because they want a replacement for Terence Trent. I was just about to say Derby. What's his name? You know who I mean. Dads, West Ham need to keep Paqueta to play as one of the two number 10s. We need another player like Paqueta, a man to feed our striker, which in all honesty will be Bowen. Sean, if Steinberg pushed it, then possibly legit. Yeah. Anthony, Moyes will come in for Soufal and Soucek, quite possibly. Dodzy, how are you? Think if true, it will be good. Get the money, reinvest, watching you from hospital. Getting update on hip hop. Mate, I hope everything is well. I hope it's all good. And best wishes to you, mate. And thank you for watching. Michael, Fulham have offered Soufal 60 grand a week, which is double the wages, almost double the wages he's currently on. Kent, it's international fortnight. They've got nothing to write about in the Premier League, so they would write mostly about transfer. You're spot on, Kent. You know, we need to fill the columns with something. I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll start talking about transfers, even if they're not true. Hey, so what? Don't let, what's that saying? Don't let the truth get in the way of a good story, or don't let a lie get in the way of a true story, or whatever. So let me just recap before I go. It's only half an hour. Let me recap. So we've had stories today coming in. Apparently, Al Nassr, the Saudi club, are interested in Mohammed Kudus, and they're going to make a bid of 84. Why 84 million? That's why it makes the story a little bit unbelievable. Why 84 million? Why not just say they're matching the release clause? Why not do that? It might sound a little bit more plausible. And the question is, will Mohammed Kudus want to leave West Ham United for the points that you guys have made out? He wants to play high league football. He wants to play in the Champions League. You know, I've got a bigger fear that he'll want to go to the likes of Arsenal or Liverpool in the summer rather than going to Saudi. Great money for him, great money for his agent, but not necessarily great for the player's career. 24 years of age, got, you know, if he wants to earn those big bucks, he could go and do that in 3, 4, 5 years' time. He'll still only be before under the age of 30, and he could still go and play and earn a huge load of money in Saudi once he's done other things. So I don't really know. Other assets that we can sell? Paqueta, if he gets off the FA charge, he would be a valuable asset to West Ham United. My gut kind of tells me he's the sort of player that might be leaving rather than Kudus. And when I said about maybe playing Kudus in the number 10 role, you could see Kudus maybe being that number 10. And of course, you know, we believe he's better off on the right-hand side, but we've got Bowen there. However, there's no reason why you can't put Bowen out on the right, Kudus in the middle, Somerville on the left-hand side, and then a striker just ahead. That could work. Other assets that we could possibly look at moving on in the summer. Nigel Gerd. Now, apparently, Potter wants to see how good he is. And he wants to perhaps keep him at the club next season. But if the player himself doesn't want to stay, then I think we'll get good money for him, 25 million plus or something like that. We've got other assets. Jared Bowen, if we really wanted to make money, we could sell him. But you know there's absolutely no way that he's going. But we've got the likes of Thomas Soucek as well, who we could sell for 20-odd million pounds. That would be good money made. He's got 2 years left on his contract, 30 years of age. If we want to get money back, you know, to invest in the squad, 20 million pounds for a 30-year-old player who's served us really well is not a bad thing. There are other players, Somerville, perhaps, if we wanted to make money, but I don't think Somerville is going anywhere. James Ward-Prowse, maybe get 15 million for him. Dinos, I think, will go. Guilherme is another player. Alvarez, Kilman. There are a number of assets that we have at West Ham United if we want to generate money. But Kudus is by far and large the biggest asset. However, does the player himself really want to go and play his football in somewhere like Saudi? Michael, Al Nassr front line would be Duran, Kudus, and CR7. Ronaldo. Imagine that. Kent, people are moaning that we're looking at championship players. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. There are some really good players in the championship, young, good engines. There's nothing wrong with that at all. I think we've got to get away. I think the one thing that's going to really disappoint West Ham fans in the summer is that we're not going to go and buy a 30, 35, 40 million pound player. I'm fine with that. If we've got players coming in from abroad or from the championship, 15, 20, 25 million pounds, young, hungry players that are ready for the next level up, bring it on. Because I think that's how Graham Potter and Carl McCauley are going to do their business next season. Gemma, take the money and run. Well, it's the other viewpoint. Josh, good afternoon to you, mate. I hope you're well. Michael, Kent, in my opinion, Championship is a harder league. There you go. Kent, is there any way still we can find out after Monday who renewed their season tickets early? I will ask. It'll be Sean I'll be asking. But of course, the deadline for getting your 3 points and all these other benefits, etc., is the 31st. So I will certainly ask. Might take a bit of time to get that information, though. So there you have it. The afternoon show is all about, do we sell Mohammed Kudus? Like I said, if a club comes in, doesn't matter where they are, whether in Saudi Arabia, whether in the Premier League or in Europe or whatever, if a club comes in and matches the 85 million release clause, our only obligation is to inform the player and his agent of that case. But we don't have to accept an offer. You know, if we don't want to sell, if Potter turns around and says, absolutely, I'm not selling the player, we're obliged to advise the player that a bid's come in, but we're not obliged to sell him. So let's see. I think it's going to be, we're going to hear these stories on a regular basis. Kent made a good point. You know, it's international break. Got to fill the social media columns up with something. So why not start talking about transfer rumors? All these transfer rumors about players we're buying, I'm just completely ignoring it. There's just no point. You know, there's absolutely no point. The next show that's coming up, I'll probably record it tonight and then put it out for Saturday, is I'm going to look at the whole current squad, not just Kudus, but the whole squad, and talk about what it would be my opinion, my viewpoint as to who I think we keep, who I think we could be selling, what sort of price we can get, etc. But it'd be very interesting to see your viewpoints on what I think. Sean, I'd be very happy with a stack of unknowns and Kelleher. We ain't getting any Champions League level strikers, even with the Kudus money. Yeah, but to be really honest with you, I don't want to go out and buy a Champions League striker who's going to be looking to play Champions League football, demanding high wages and coming in at a fee of 50, 60 million pounds. That's the market. I think that's where we currently, ironically, I said this in a few shows ago, I think under David Moyes, that's where we started to go wrong, weirdly enough. You know, when David Moyes was at the helm and was bringing in remember who he brought in? Bowen and Souček, a Championship player and a player from abroad who both served us well, still serving us well. We were doing all right. When we were bringing players like that into the club, we were doing okay. Then all of a sudden he had an epiphany. He wanted to go and buy himself 40, 50, 60 million pound players. And look what happened. The money we wasted on the likes of Scamacca and other players like that who just didn't, David Moyes didn't know how to utilize them. And we squaffed a lot of money up the wall for the sort of players we bought. I'd much rather go back to that approach of getting players from the Championship, getting relatively unknown or cheaper players, not cheaper as in cheaper where they can't do a job for us. Get good players in. With the likes of Carl McCauley in and Graham Potter, they're going to be scouring the market, looking for bargains, but a bargain doesn't mean you're going to get a crap player. Look at what they did at Brighton as an example. Josh, I really do not know what Kudus offers West Ham other than strength on the ball. He doesn't make good decisions. He's selfish. I wouldn't want him to lead to another Premier League side, though. Well, there's a conundrum there, Josh. You don't know what he brings, but at the same time, you don't want him going to a Premier League club because you know he could come good. Kent, would you pay 50 million for Liam Delap? No, is the honest truth, because I think we're probably going to find ourselves a striker who might be worth half that and maybe almost as good. Is the honest answer, Kent. Highest, if he was that way, if he was that, why don't you want him to go there? It seems like Kudus isn't all you are saying. I didn't understand. You're going to have to rewrite that with the greatest of respect. I didn't quite catch that. Sean, far too much, Kent. We can go for Darwin Núñez for that. Núñez would be a good, but would he want to come to West Ham United? Remember, we were in for him and he chose Liverpool. It hasn't quite worked out for him, but I don't know. Núñez, I think we're going to get some surprises in the transfer market. I think we're going to be linked to players that we kind of never heard of before, and we're going to end up buying a striker for 25 million from some unknown, club in Paraguay or something like that. I'm being extreme, but you get my point. I think that's what's going to happen. Josh, yes, I would hate to see him go to Arsenal and Arteta gets the bet. This is it. So I think personally, Kudus had a great first season. It's gone dry this season for whatever reason. The player himself having problems. Let's not forget he wasn't doing well for Ghana as well. So it wasn't just about West Ham. But I think he'll come good next season. If we keep him, I think we'll get the best out of him. Michael, will we get Al Nassr in 5 years? Will he get Al Nassr in 5 years when he's in his 30s? Cristiano Ronaldo, how old is he now? 39, something like that. If he's good enough, yes, he probably would go there, but for a lot less, of course. Highest. It was to the Josh guy. And sorry. Okay, cool. Kent, I think I'm the same regarding Delap, but I still think that's what Ipswich. Yeah, this is it. That's what Ipswich will want. And I dare say maybe Arsenal or Man United or a team like that. Where was it? Was he Man United as a youth player? Can't remember. But a team will come in and probably pay that money. I don't think West Ham should be going for that kind of, because we need to rebuild that squad. Our money is going to be spread thin. And then that goes back to the question of, do you then sell someone like Kudus in order to generate the income? Just like we did with Declan Rice when we sold him. Highest. So then, it's a West Ham thing and not a Kudus thing. Well, where did it come from? Steinberg. Apparently this story came about Kudus. I'm taking it all with a pinch of salt, which is all I'm saying. Juha, good afternoon to you. Until we get rid of our striker curse, why bother trying to spend more money on it? Well, we need to find the right striker. Sean, very promising player, no doubt, Ken. 50 million unrealistic. Think he was Man City still. Not sure. Man City, thank you for that. They might have a buyback clause for all we know. Josh, the highest. He was brilliant last season, but I keep thinking he looks like he's fed up. Whether that's with us or not, hopefully he fixes up. But it's not exactly an easy decision. Kent. Derby, then Man City, Delap. Not sure if City got a buyback clause. There you go. With that, I'm going to leave you to it. Thank you all for watching. Thank you all for listening. Much appreciated you getting involved in another Friday lunchtime show. I think I might carry on doing them. I'm getting these good responses for it. So, Mohammed Kudus is the big question. All I just say to you guys is this. Look, treat everything you see and everything you read, everything you hear with a bit of a pinch of salt at this moment in time, because there's still quite a long way to go before the summer transfer windows here. And then let's start seeing what actions there are nearer the time. I know we're hearing an awful lot about where we put bids in. Is it for Rig from the Championship? Even that I'm treating with a bit of pinch of salt at the moment. I don't know. Until we know who's leaving, we won't really know who we're buying. Thank you all for watching. Thank you all for listening. And I will see you all very soon.